AP World History Modern. This is DBQ number 2, 10 Steps to a 6. We're not worried about the unicorn point, at least not yet. Have these things next to you. Those of you that are not writing 6s, relax. You'll get there. It's only our second DBQ. But one thing I did notice, those that are not writing 6s yet, you don't have these things next to you. You're not using the 10-step guide. You're not using the H.I.P.P sheet. If you follow these directions, you'll start writing 6s, trust me. And you don't have to write the DBQ exactly the way I do it. But right now, this is kind of like training wheels. And once you get the hang of it, you take the training wheels off. As long as you get a 6, that's all that matters, right? But for now, so you can wrap your brain around how this goes. Use the step-by-step guide. Okay. Step 1, read and understand the prompt. Sounds easy, but it can be a problem if you don't read the whole prompt. And here's what a lot of you are doing. Not just you. Kids across the country do this. Evaluate the extent that technological developments affected interregional connections between 1400 and 1750. I just watched a Heimler video today. I was having my morning coffee, and he talked about this, evaluate the extent. I recommend watching it. Check it out. This is College Board language. Heimler was saying they used to just say analyze. This is supposed to be a little easier, but what's happening is you're ignoring this part and you don't realize it. You're being Captain Obvious and you're writing your essay and you're saying, yes, there were technological developments, and yes, they did affect interregional connections. Yep, these things happened. That's not what it's asking you. We know that. The prompt is agreeing with you. What it's asking you is, what was the extent? Was it a little? Was it minimal? Was it a lot? Was it massive? Was it, did it change world history? Or was there no change at all? Right? What do you call that? What's the AP word for that? Continuity, right? So make sure you focus on what it's asking you. Okay, if I ask you what day of the week it is, and you tell me, blue, we got a communication problem, right? How many fingers am I holding up? Thursday. We have a communication problem. That's kind of what some of you are doing. You're not addressing the prompt. Don't forget, evaluate the extent. Make sure you understand what the prompt's asking you. Okay, read the document once. You know the routine. I'm going to underline just stuff that I need. I don't need this whole article. I don't care about a lot of it. How do I know what I need? One of you asked me that. Good question. The prompt tells me what I need. I'm not going to read the whole document to you. I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. So hit pause, read it. And, you don't have to, maybe you'll underline a little different than I would. That's fine. Just, this is you going grocery shopping. Just get the stuff you need. Get the stuff on your list. Don't go up and down every aisle and look at every item. Who does that? You get in, you get out. Just take what you need, get out. That's what we're doing. So I underlined document 1. Little note to myself. And Navy is jacked, right? Now your English teacher would slam you for that, right? Your English teacher's not grading this. It's just a note to myself. Don't worry about it. Now, here's a pivot. The nice thing is, when I do these think alouds, students, and I learned good this way too. Like whenever I never needed to do something, I like to see somebody else do it first. I'm fixing something around the house. Man, if I can get a YouTube video and see somebody doing it, it makes it so much easier. So there's a lot of pivots, like the step-by-step guide, the plan, depending on the mood, depending on the topic. There's little shortcuts that I'm teaching you guys. So we're just trying to get a 6. We're not going after the unicorn, right? My thinking is, why lose 3 points trying to get 1? Run out of time, you don't get to finish everything, and you're probably not going to get the point anyway. Last year, College Board person told me it was 1.8% of students nationwide got the unicorn point. So something weird's going on there, right? Anyway, the second I look at document 2, and under a timer, this is a good trick, something to consider. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them. This is a huge document. Then I noticed I was looking at all 7, as you'll see in a minute. I have 2 illustrations, and the other ones are really short. Why? I think they're just trying to make up for this one, because this one's huge. Guess what? I immediately saw the size of this document. Now, I didn't time myself, but thinking under a timer, I see a document this big, I'm dumping it. I haven't read this. I'm not going to read it. Forget it. I'm going to dump it immediately so it doesn't waste a second of my time. So I just saved myself a bunch of time. So here's document 3. And look at the College Board rubric, right? As long as we get 6. Now, we did lose an insurance policy doing it. It's nice to do 7 if you can. You have an insurance policy. But one it's that big compared to the other ones, forget it. I'd rather have more time to focus on my 6. This is a nice little short article. I'll use this one. There's a little note to myself. Now, Muslim, that's not really how you spell it nowadays, but I'm just going with what's in the document. Here's a map. Look at the date, too. 1513, right? Now, when I saw this document, not only was I happy that it's an illustration, but man, we know Magellan, don't we? I saw that document, and I'm like, this is where I'm going to get my evidence beyond the document. Magellan, we went over a bunch of stuff on Magellan, right? It's not like I know that because I'm the teacher. You know it too. You know a bunch of stuff about Magellan. So I'm like, I'm going to milk that cow till it dies, right? That's probably where I'm going to get most of my evidence beyond the document. Who's this guy? I don't know. Who cares? We don't need to know. Document 7. Take what we need. A little note to myself. Done. Okay. Now we're going to bucket. You know the routine. Now, when you watch this podcast, I'm assuming you watched the first one, right? I went a little slower and spelled everything out. So I'm going a little quicker on this one. You guys know the routine. This isn't rocket surgery, right? It's like anything else. You do it the right way, it's no big deal. If you do it the wrong way, you just invented a way to make minute rice in an hour, right? Don't do that. So here's how I bucket them. I still don't think I bucket them good. It's supposed to be thematic. I usually never do it thematically. I just find other, things that make sense to me. You don't have to bucket exactly the way I do, and you can still get a 6. Again, the main rule is don't have the same document in more than one bucket. So this one was kind of easy, 2, 2, and 2. So this should be nice and, bite-sized body paragraphs. I got 2 documents in each bucket. Here's what I did, my topic, my reasoning for bucketing them this way. So this is going to be body paragraph 1. This is going to be body paragraph 2. This is going to be body paragraph 3. Setting myself up. Now, the template, you do have some wiggle room, right? Specific historical examples, such as, maybe sometimes if your thesis is too long, maybe you got to take that out. But this helps you, this is kind of like your training wheels, this helps you write the correct way. The guy reading this, or the lady reading this from the College Board, doesn't really need to see this. It does help, it kind of makes it obvious. Again, we're trying to hit them over the head with a hammer. We're trying to take the point, not ask for the point. So this helps kind of spell it out for the College Board reader. But the real significance of this is it's going to kind of force you to do things the right way. Rule of 3. 3 facts from 3 documents, 1 from each bucket. Then you just write the word proves that. Then you make your stand. Then get the word because in there if you can. Then tie back to the prompt and argue it. Doesn't always have to be in this order. It kind of depends how you write, how the prompt's worded, what the document's offering you. So there's a lot of factors, but try to have these things in your thesis. Especially because, and especially approves that. Establish a line of reasoning. But maybe one time you can't get approves that, you got a because, you can still be good. Or the other way around. At least have one of them. So you guys know T-shape 3. Before you give me your thesis to grade it yourself. If you have time on test day, you know, I did have kids that said, hey, you know, I had 10 minutes left over. All right, cool. Don't waste those 10 minutes. You know, check your thesis. Do a T-shaped 3. Maybe as you're writing it, right? If you have a bad thesis, you don't want to keep going. Could throw off your whole essay. If you got a minute, you know, try to grade it yourself real quick. Does your thesis take a stand? Are you specific? Is there an historically defensible claim? Well, if you're doing chicken foot, of course it is, right? And that helps you be specific. Are you answering the prompt? To what extent, right? Establish a line of reasoning. Kids struggle with that. Just write because and prove that. That helps you establish a line of reasoning, those words, that phrase. Rule of 3, chicken foot. Have T-shaped 3, you're going to be money. Now, I graded one today. Kid sent me a message. Hey, mister, how come I didn't get a thesis point? I can tell you didn't even try to score this with T-shaped 3. You didn't even try to use the guide. Because if you just would have went through this really quick, you would have realized, ooh, this thesis is way off. So don't reinvent the wheel. It's already been invented. You guys know this. I'm not going to read all these to you. But you know this. I know you're sick of me saying it too. There's your do's. There's your don'ts. Now the don'ts, this is based on the most common mistakes. So they say learn from your mistakes. That's cool. But man, if you can learn from other people's mistakes, take a proactive approach, that's even better. Okay, let's write this sucker. Use our template. So I start off specific historical examples such as, gee, how did I get that? I just simply copied off the template. Not difficult at all. Rule of 3. China building 317 ships. Got that out of bucket 1. Portugal monopolizing maritime trade. Got that out of bucket 2. And Europe sailing to the Americas. Got that out of bucket 3. Proves that. Why did I write that? I'm just copying the template. Easy stuff. Proves that. What does it prove? That's where you got to think. My stand. What's my stand? Am I saying it was minimal? There was hardly any, the technology had no effect on these connections. Was it continuous? Was it a kind of continuity? It was kind of the same. It stayed the same. Or did it really change stuff? Like big time. Was it a big impact? Well, this was a huge impact. Changes world history. So my stand proves that technological developments. Now, where am I getting this language from? The prompt, technological developments. Proves that technological developments had a massive effect. Massive. I'm addressing the extent, which a lot of you are not doing. Well, not a lot of you are not doing. Make sure you understand. You have to address the extent. A massive effect. On what? Interregional connections. Where did I get that from? Oh, look, the prompt. No big deal. Right? It's not rocket surgery. Because copy the template. Easy stuff. You can copy stuff when you're in first grade. Because why? I got to think a little bit. Because it determined which countries would control trade and eventually control other countries through colonization. So I'm establishing a line of reasoning. In other words, I'm backing up what I'm saying. Right? I'm not doing a drive-by. I'm not just dropping facts. I'm not just talking on the side of my mouth. I'm backing up what I'm saying. So just follow the template. Makes this much easier. Okay. Contextualization. You guys know the deal. Think Star Wars crawl. Set up your thesis. They'd like to see you go back 100, 200 years. Don't forget. Don't double dip. If you're not strong on the topic, don't use all the bullets in your chamber for the contextualization. Save some stuff for evidence behind the document. All right. So by the 6th century, so I'm going way back, the Latin sail specific, I believe that's in the CED, had improved and increased maritime travel. No longer did ships need to wait for the wind to sail in their desired directions. During the 11th and 12th centuries, I'm coming into the time frame of the prompt. I'm getting there. During the 11th and 12th centuries, the compass was invented. That's another thing. I think it's right out of the CED, my lecture, Himmler's History. Was invented by the Chinese and improved upon by Europeans. By the 14th century, I'm getting there, the Korak had been invented, another specific, right out of the CED, right out of my lecture, right out of Himmler's History, AP classroom videos. The largest ship could handle rough waters and carry larger amounts of cargo. The flute ship, more specifics. I believe that's in the CED too. We talked about this in class. Himmler's History talked about it. You can get there from point A to point B faster. Technological advancements. Why am I using that language? Technological. I'm showing my readers. See, I'm sticking with the prompt. I'm not going off on a tangent. I'm not all of a sudden talking about Leon Trotsky was head of the Red Army. What? Wait, that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's true. Has nothing to do with the prompt. Has nothing to do with this topic, right? This is keeping me on point. Unlike the Mongol Empire, I am comparing and contrasting a little bit. Almost like I'm flirting with the unicorn point, but I don't care about the unicorn point. But I just want to make sure I get a solid contextualization point. Portugal was never going to become a significant land-based empire. However, it could and would become a maritime empire that monopolized other countries and continents in the form of colonization. Technology, hey, I'm staying with the prompt. I know I might have went off on a little tangent here. Maybe it looked like I was getting away from the prompt for a second, but nope, coming right back. Technology will determine the haves and have-nots. Technology was altering the course of world history. Technology is altering the course of world history. I'm addressing extent. That's big. If you're altering the course of world history, that's a big thing, right? Now, again, your English teacher, right? Miss Baker would probably punch me in the liver and say, Cruz, why do you use technology in this sentence and then you use it again in this sentence? You got to change that up. It's clunky. Your English teacher will hate it. Guess what? This ain't English class, bro. So it doesn't matter if it's clunky. We're trying to stay focused, address the prompt, set up the thesis. Does my contextualization pass the BAMS test, right? This is another acronym you can use to quickly check it. Am I specific? Heck yeah, very specific. How can I prove it? Latin sail. I'm not just saying they had these types of sails. Too general. I said the Korak. I didn't say bigger ships. I said the Korak right out of the CED. The Caravel. Specific, right? Did I address the prompt? Heck yeah, I'm talking technology. I'm talking interregional connection. Did I make a connection? Yes, absolutely. That's why I repeated myself a few times. I stayed within the prompt. I'm not going off on a tangent. Did I set up the thesis? Heck yeah, I did. Because it sets up the thesis. Now, some of you like to do your contextualization first. You can. That's fine. Just the way I do it, I do my thesis first because in my mind, it's easier to set up my thesis if I know what the thesis is. That's just how my brain works. When I write the contextualization, I'm like, I think that's good. What's my thesis? I don't know. So how do I know if I'm setting it up? But some of you got it like that. It works for you. That's cool. But I just like to do my thesis first. And I'll leave some lines available up on top so I can squeeze in my contextualization. But you don't have to do it like that. Do what works for you. Here's what we have so far. And as we get into this, as we do like our fourth, our fifth, our sixth DBQ, once you I got this down. You might not need my training wheels so much. You might not need everything on my guide. You might not need to do it exactly the way I tell you. And that's fine. Just get a 6. I don't care if you write it like Himmler writes it. You write it like I write it. You write it like another YouTube AP teacher you found. You like the way they explain it, maybe anti-social studies. There's a lot of good ones out there. All I care about is get a 6. But for right now, do it the way I'm asking you, and then you can develop your own way. That's fine. But I want to make sure you know what they're looking for. And I posted something in Teams the other day. I saw on the book face, the AP World History book face, like 6,000 AP World History teachers. And a teacher was talking about how their kids keep writing really good English essays. Remember what we keep saying that all year? So it's not just us, but a good English essay will get you an F in AP World History, and a good AP World History essay will get you an F in English. So keep that in mind. Now let's hit them with DHTT. I graded a one today. Hey, mister, how come I didn't get my points? You didn't use DHTT, that's why. You just wrote an English paper. Use DHTT. China built a massive fleet of 317 ships and 28,000 armed crew, right from the document. Right, stuff that I underlined. Little notes to myself. I'm not going to reread these things 3 or 4 times. The purpose of this document, gee, where did I get that from? Because I'm so smart? Nope, just copying the HIP sheet. A first grader can copy the HIP sheet. The purpose of this document is to prove that increased technology and production has given China an advanced navy. Therefore, gee, what made me write therefore? It's right in the template. Template's doing all the work for you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Therefore, making them a major player in maritime trade. This will provide them with profits and power as they sell goods to other countries. Tie back to the prompt, my stand. If you can, throw a because in here. I kind of like this the way it was. I didn't use a because, but when you can, use a because. A therefore and a because are really, really solid. Again, we're trying to take the point. We're not asking for the point. We're taking it. All right, next document. Underline what I wanted. Residents of New Spain began to dress with clothes from China. How do I know that? Because I'm so smart? Nope, it's right there. Pretty much plagiarizing. Really, a DBQ, if you look at it, these are little Wikipedia articles. You're plagiarizing them, but you don't want to get busted for plagiarism. So you kind of change it and make it sound like your own words. Tell me you guys can't do that. We know you can do that. You've been doing it for years. All right. During this time, gee, where did I get this language from? Countries were acquiring goods from far away cultures for the first time because of interregional connections. This is my HIP sheet. I hipped it. I think it's a different shade of green. Sorry about that. Well, interregional connections. Where did I get this fancy language? Right from the prompt. By land and sea. Therefore, I'm copying a template. A first grader could do that. Causing an unprecedented amount of trade and cultural exchanges. Cultural exchanges, language from my prompt. Why do I keep stealing language from my prompt? To show my reader I am addressing the prompt. I'm tying back to the thesis. I'm arguing the prompt. I'm not getting off deep in the weeds, going off on a tangent, which is easy to do, especially under the timer. Some of the stuff I'm telling you might be like, yeah, I get it. You say that all the time. But we haven't been done any timed yet. These mistakes that I'm telling you about, you're going to see that, yes, you'll make them too when there's a timer. So here's what we have so far. Here's our contextualization. Here's my thesis. I kind of like doing this, even though probably most people would disagree with me. I get it. I just really want you to know where my thesis is. And it's not an English class, so they're not going to hit me on structure of paragraphs. But most people would put this at the end of the paragraph, which I'll probably do at the end. But I have my contextualization, very easy to see. I have my thesis. I underline my thesis. Always underline your thesis with me and the day you take the test. I want you to underline the thesis. Make their job easier. The easier you make their job, the better grade you're going to get. Here's my first body paragraph. Small body paragraph. Not much to it because I only have 2 documents. Nice and easy. Nice and smooth. And we saved a bunch of time because we dumped the biggest document. What was in document 2? I don't know. Who cares? I never bothered reading it. Too big. All right. I describe it. I hip it. I use a therefore. I tie it back. Hit pause. Check it out. You know the routine. Let the template do the work for you. Some of you are refusing to use the template and you're trying to reinvent the wheel and you're writing an English paper and then I give you a 0 or a 1 or a 2, then you get mad. If you got a car full of gas, why would you get out and walk, right? Let the car do the work for you. Drive the car. Make it easy. The template will do the work for you. Here's me describing it. I'm using the HIP sheet. Describing it some more. I described it twice. Little insurance policy. Tying it back. While I'm tying it back, I use a therefore. Make sure you use a therefore. If you can, throw a because in there. I didn't hear either. I think I was good with the therefore, but try to throw a because and a therefore. All right. Now again, pause this when you can. I'm not going to read everything to you. I don't want a 2-hour video. Neither do you. So now I got the second body paragraph done. We're just about done. The last two are easy. They're illustrations. This is the new world, right? Now, this is the best they knew at the time. We know it looks different than that, but we get the idea. Here's me describing it. I hit it with therefore. Tie it back. I'm tying it back to the prompt. Now I hipped it at the end, and that's fine, right? This is interchangeable. I hipped it at the end. Hey, what's this? Something popped in my head as I was writing this. You guys, and this is not because I'm the teacher. You guys know this. I gave you at least an hour, maybe 2-hour lecture. I don't remember if it was the whole 2 hours, but remember I gave you a big lecture, that book Conquest I read by Hugh Thomas, one of my favorite nonfiction books. So you know this too. You guys should know this. Between my lecture, Heimler's history, AP classroom videos, our book, you know about Cortez and Masica, you know all that. So that popped in my head. I'm like, hey, this is going to be my first shot at evidence beyond the document. I only need one to stick, but man, this one's so easy. This is underhand, right? Tenochtitlan, Aztecs, Hernan Cortez. I remember the date, right? 1519. Man, that should get it right there. I shouldn't even need any more. I'm gonna take another shot at it just to be sure, but the evidence beyond the document, just have it somewhere in the body paragraphs. And what's the rule? No double dipping. What does that mean? Make sure it's not stuff that I talked about in my contextualization. I didn't mention anything about Hernan Cortez in the contextualization. So I'm good. Last one, Magellan. Again, not because I'm the teacher. We talked about Magellan. You know this too. You guys should be like, oh yeah, I got all kinds of stuff on Magellan. So my opening is kind of blah, blah. Maybe I kind of an intro. I may not get any points for the opening, but that's okay. The Karak was an advancement in naval technology. Hey, I should get evidence beyond the document for that. Right? Wrong. Why would this not get me evidence beyond the document? Isn't this true? Yes, it's true. Isn't it specific? Yes, it's specific. Is this in the document? No. Well, actually it is. Correct. So there's one reason. But it's an advancement in naval technology. I mentioned this in the contextualization, so there's no way I'm getting evidence beyond the document for it, but that's okay. It was a bigger ship that could carry more cargo and withstand rough waters than older ships. So this may qualify as describing the document. Ferdinand Magellan's ship, the Victoria, was an example of this upgraded and durable type of ship, D6, describing the document. Therefore, hit him with a therefore, making it possible for Magellan to lead the first naval expedition to circumnavigate the globe. We know all this. I'm being specific. This is my second shot at evidence beyond the document, even though I felt pretty good about the Hernan Cortez one. But hey, at least 2 evidence beyond the document. Try to have 3 if you can. Now, I can't just be doing a drive-by. I can't just be puking out historical facts to show off how smart I am. I have to tie it back to the prompt, right, in my argument. So I do that here. Hit pause. We're done. No big deal. Dumping document 2. That felt good. Saved me a lot of time. I hipped it. And when you hip it, you only need to hip 3. But try to hip at least 4 so you have 1 insurance policy, right? Okay. Hit pause, read it. If I can do it, you can do it. Follow the guide. Follow the guide. Follow the guide. See you next time.